Unfortunately, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
In my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations. America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Indictment.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of Image Fun.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and joining us today is the magnificent, awesome, extremely intellectual Mr. Gavin Richard Esquire, our legal expert. All right. So we're going to talk about Trump. Go ahead, Gavin.
Good evening, good afternoon. Greetings to you and the chat. I hope you all are having a great Sunday afternoon. It's raining where I am here in New Orleans. I don't know about Georgia, but I think Georgia, you all had some rain come that way and out there in Atlanta. Am I right?
Yeah, it's cloudy out here. It's cloudy out here today. It's cloudy out here, and I heard there was a water main break downtown too. Okay, Maurice says, Queen, I enjoyed the interview you did earlier, but when he just had to include everybody else in the pool of the group you mentioned regarding reparations, my thumb immediately went down on it. Let me speak on that.
You did an interview with somebody?
Dr. Shiva, who's running for president. And so here's the thing. I asked him, was he for reparations for the descendant of slaves in America? And so, you know, some people didn't like what he said. And quite frankly, that's not the answer I was looking for. But here's the thing. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. He says a lot of things that I absolutely like. And I've been following him since 2020. And here's the thing. Let's look at the bigger picture, because I talked to my friend about this. I talked to my best friend about this, and what she said makes sense. She said, first of all, because see, I've always been telling you guys, I don't think we're ever going to get reparations, right? But my best friend said the only way that we would get reparations is if other people get them too. If there's other people fighting for reparations with us, because then, you know, it wouldn't be just us, because we already know America doesn't want to give us anything by ourselves. I mean, didn't Cammie Harris say that? Kabami, she said, no, I'm not going to do anything for African Americans now, just for us. So with that all being said, that might be a good idea, the bottoms up movement with all these different people, because quite frankly, I don't care who gets reparations as long as we do. Well, okay, I don't care as long as we do. What do you want to say about that, Gavin?
Well, let me just say, other groups have gotten already, keep in mind,
yeah, absolutely.
People. The United States had approved reparations even for Jewish Americans regarding what happened with the Holocaust. They supported that because there were corporations, American corporations, that actually participated in that. Mm-hmm. Not to mention also the Japanese Americans who were here during World War II that were put in internment camps. And I'll even take it a step further, even the Native American groups. Barack Obama, when he was president, he approved a bill, I believe, worth $500 million that went directly towards Native Americans. So they can and have the money to give it specifically to Black folks. In
oh yeah, they do, but we know they're not going to.
But and also another, no, they're not going to. But when you start adding other groups to it, and the issue is, and I agree with what everybody's saying, is that it's going to dilute from what we have, because now you're talking about spending billions of dollars for Black Americans, but no. We don't want it to go to just Black men. We're going to go to people of color. The problem is those other groups then are going to actually get the bulk of it, because that's what happened even with affirmative action.
Well, exactly.
Affirmative action benefits white and females. It hasn't benefited Black men. When Lyndon Johnson, Black people in general, when Lyndon Johnson created that was, he specifically stated, was to remedy and rectify what happened to Black people in this country. It became something different in the 70s when they started to bring in Title IX.
Right. Now, I have mentioned all of this, everything you just said about the Japanese getting it. Even the Italians got it. Many people don't know that. Yeah. Back in the day, they lynched many Italians and they gave them reparations. And they definitely gave it to the Japanese for Hiroshima and all of that. But the bottom line is, I've said all of this before, but the bottom line is, at the end of the day, if we don't get anything, then we still got nothing. Okay, we don't get nothing. And yes, it would be diluted. And we already know how that goes, because like you said, the same thing happened with affirmative action. My whole thing is, listen, I don't think we'll get reparations in this country, period. I've said that 1,000 times. Okay, I've said it 1,000 times. But I will say for sure, we're definitely not going to get it just for us. So that's just what it is. So either everybody, the way they view it, because even when the black farmers were complaining about the fact that they were discriminated against and they didn't get certain things that the white farmers got, when they in fact decided to give it to black farmers, then the other farmers came out and said, well, that's racist. How are you going to give them something? So there's always going to be that. And they've given reparations to people whose atrocities didn't even happen here on this country's soil, as I said numerous of times. So the bottom line is they don't want to give it to us. And it's not just up to the president, as we know. It has to be other things involved. And not to mention, they didn't even give it to the victims of Tulsa. These people are over 100 years old and they're still here and they've never been given recompense. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay. Sometimes we just have to look at the bigger picture. There's other things that we need to concern ourselves with. Reparations, whether we get it or not, you know, this country doesn't care about people who look like me. And that's just what
there may be another way. An attorney, a gentleman I know, he proposed another option, which is looking at some of the African nations that also help in the transatlantic slave trade might be a way to get reparations from them, which is something some people have considered.
To me, I've heard that before. Go ahead.
Different. I mean, yeah, and that is one. Well, that is one way. I mean, look, believe it or not, this actually happened. There was, I can't think of the person's name, but it's a true story. Some Egyptian fellow, they actually sued this country of Israel. You know why? Because they said that during the Exodus, they stole all of the treasures out of Pharaoh's kingdom when they were leaving, according to the Bible. So he actually filed a lawsuit against against Israel to get those items back, and the judges, they threw it out, of course. But that actually happened.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't want my reparations from Africa. Africa doesn't owe me reparations. This country does. This country had Jim Crow. This country has police brutality on people who look like me. I want my reparations from America. I don't care what the Africans did. I don't want my reparations from them, and they don't owe it to me as far as I'm concerned. Okay? The ones who owe it to us are the people right here in this country. So with that being said, like I said before, I don't care who else they give it to as long as we get ours. Because at the end of the day, if it is not a bottoms-up movement, like he said, we're not going to get anything. So that's just what it is as far as I'm concerned. But hold on, I'm not done. And here's another thing I want to say, and I don't want to make this about reparations because I didn't come on here for this. At the end of the day, I was addressing a question. The bottom line is also this. Many of you, myself included, voted for Barack Obama. And like Gavin said, Barack Obama, who is the same skin tone as us, gave people money for reparations that didn't include us. All right? And you voted for him twice. I know I did. Now, with that all being said, some of you also voted for Biden, who has publicly used the N-word in reference to a black mayor who's likened black children to cockroaches, who said that his children going to school with our children will be the equivalent of a racial jungle. And some of you all voted for him. Some of you are, in fact, Biden sexuals. So please sit down somewhere. You don't have to agree with everything that someone says to think or know if you want to deal with this person. Like I have told you all a myriad of times, the difference between us and the people who don't look like us is that they can have one thing. They can have 100 problems and they can agree on only one of those things and disagree on 99 of those things. And that's enough for them to unify and work together. With us, our problem is we can have 100 problems and agree on 99 of them. And then one thing we don't like about it, and we'll throw the person under the bus. So that's just what it is. Okay, at the end of the day. Now, take it or leave it. I don't care. I'm just telling you, I like Dr. Shiva, and I do think that he is a better viable candidate than Biden, Bobby Kennedy, or Booby Kennedy, as he called him, and Trump, definitely. And here's another thing. Speaking of Trump is a whole convicted felon, guilty on 34 counts, gets to run for president, but you can be a felon and you cannot. Okay, you can't carry a weapon to protect yourself. You can't get decent jobs. You can't live in certain areas. You can't do plenty of things if you're a felon. But because Trump, you know, he's
someone who doesn't look like us. Well, he's got 34 convictions. I'm sorry, he's guilty of 34 counts. And you mean tell me he can still run for president? Okay. And so at the end of the day, what happened to when you all love to say, and I've heard plenty of you say it plenty of times, well, we have to choose between the lesser of the two evils. So please sit down somewhere is all I'm saying. Okay, please sit down somewhere. Mama said, Queen, you know I'm still voting for Trump. Go right ahead, okay? Go right ahead. Is Trump going to give us reparations? No. When we asked Bernie Sanders about reparations, what did he say? It's divisive. But he didn't say that when his people got it from a country that didn't even have their atrocities committed here, okay? That's all I have to say. At the end of the day, sometimes it pays to look at the bigger picture, and sometimes it pays to take the good points and chew the meat, chew the fat, and spit out the bones. Okay, that's just what it is. All right. Now, let's talk about Trump and this nefarious conviction. Let's talk about it, Gavin. So, what do you think is next for him?
Well, what's next is going to happen. Well, I've listened to what you were saying. Trump is not likely, and you and I spoke on the phone. To be honest, he's not likely to go to prison.
Yeah, definitely not.
Based on this, even though it is a possibility, you got to also realize it's not just being convicted is one thing, but there's also something that starts called the appellate process, where the higher courts, not just in state court, but also in federal court, which is the key, is going to have the chance to look at the case. And his attorneys had made some objections, especially which preserves the record in regards to things that happened at the trial. For instance, they tried to get the case recused out of that venue. The judge denied that. They also wanted the judge recused because supposedly he had contributed to Biden's campaign, although it was $15. He may not have anything to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, just anything that happened during the trial that they allowed, if there were errors, wasn't a mistake, letting Michael Cohen testify in part against Donald Trump when he was his attorney. And were there anything that was said, for instance, attorney-client privilege, that was allowed as evidence against Trump? So he has appealable issues, and that's
he does.
Right. And I will take it a step further because I know politics as well. That whole thing that happened with him, I do believe it was politically motivated. Yes, I think that was. Yeah,
I agree.
Well, it was. It's not me saying that I think Donald Trump is a good guy or not. I don't. But I'm saying, yes.
The truth is the truth.
Was it unfair? Yeah. Was it biased? Yes. But you know what? As what Black Authority said last night, so was the Central Park 5 situation.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, but I don't see Donald Trump in. Typically, I mean, look, if this weren't Donald Trump, if Donald Trump weren't running for president, what most likely would happen, he'd probably just have to pay a fine and some costs. I don't even think this might have even gone to trial like it did, but because it's Trump and because CNN gets a story to get ratings, and not just CNN, MSNBC, Fox included, they had to make it a thing out of this. And yes, he and doing this now in June when the Republican convention is about to start this same month, I don't think it was a coincidence. But I don't see Donald Trump. I mean, he's certainly not going to drop out the race. And if anything, here's my biggest concern. Let's say they do give him some jail time. Let's just say for the sake of argument, what do you think is going to happen across this country to all other people that don't look like Trump? That's what we ought to be worried about.
That's right.
Because if he gets locked up, what they've done and essentially is make him a martyr, as what my friend Sean James was saying.
Absolutely.
You're making this man into a martyr. And when you do that, you're going to have havoc and people rioting across the street. And it's not going to be Black people that are doing that. Look at what happened when Obama got reelected. And remember when they tore up Ole Miss College?
Thank you. Absolutely.
Cars on fire. They were hella upset when that happened. So I can only imagine what's going to happen if they did give him some type of jail sentence or so forth.
Right. And we saw how they descended upon the Capitol over a mere election. Now they send this man to prison. And then not to mention when Obama was elected president, didn't the police deletings of unarmed people who look like me seem to rise and increase. Okay, I'm just saying they're going to get their get back one way or another. And I agree with Gavin. I don't think Trump's going to prison. He's going to appeal this, and it's going to take a long time, and he's going to be out and about. Now, Maurice says the Constitution doesn't prevent people with felonies from running for president, though his felonies are misdemeanors. Maurice, please sit down somewhere. That's an oxymoron. How are his felonies misdemeanors, beloved? They're felonies. And here's the thing.
Upgraded to felonies. They originally, it is a misdemeanor, but what happened is they upgraded it because he used it during the election.
Right, I know. And as of late, they're felonies, though, is my point. So with that all being said, yes, they let felons run for president, but it's ridiculously obtuse because you don't let felons do a myriad of other things. Okay, so how can you run for president and be a felon when you can't live in certain areas and be one, when you can't carry a weapon to protect and defend yourself and your family and be one, when you can't find decent jobs most of the times because you are a felon? I'm just saying, at the end of the day, okay, and with that all being said, AJ Matthews says he got Secret Service forever. How he gonna take that to jail? Exactly. That's what Gavin said last night. Me and Gavin were talking about that on the phone last night. That once you've been the president, you get Secret Service forever. Okay. And speaking of that, so I saw Bobby Kennedy posted today, Gavin, and please tell me your thoughts on this. I really think that Biden's administration has weaponized the DOJ, okay, and things like that, because Bobby Kennedy posted today, I believe it was, at least I saw it today, where he said that his home has been invaded twice. There's been people that broke in. One person had a weapon, and this person pretended to be a marshal or something, had fake paperwork and badges and all this stuff, and the person was arrested. So he's in fear for the safety of his family. Now, with that all being said, many times throughout history, people who are running for president have been afforded Secret Service protection. Even before you get to be the president, you were running as a candidate and you got the protection. But when Bobby Kennedy applied for it, Biden has denied it to him, even though he knows this man's in danger. Now, what do you think about that? Because I think that Biden is just against his political opponents, and he's using certain things, weaponizing specifically law enforcement and the DOJ.
Well, let me just give you something very interesting tidbit on Bobby Kennedy Jr. It's funny you mentioned that about the Secret Service. The Secret Service started to protect presidential candidates only after the assassination of Bobby Kennedy Sr.
Yeah, I know. He said that.
And, that situation, even with Bobby Kennedy's assassination in '68, now I wasn't even alive, but I wasn't either. My dad, others, I've always known and suspected that the Central Intelligence Agency was involved in that, but that's another story.
I agree, but continue.
We'd have to talk about that, even with JFK and MLK.
Absolutely, please continue.
But Bobby Kennedy Jr.
What happened, Gavin? I think you're frozen up. Rachel said he was in the womb. I wasn't even a feeling yet, Reggie. Okay, so Gavin's frozen. Hopefully his internet will pick back up. Now, with that all being said, I really think that Biden is a devil and that he does nefarious things to his political opponents. Yeah, okay, that's what I think about him. Go ahead, Gavin. You froze up for a minute, beloved. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. My network, I think when I'm in the studio room sometimes it's back and forth.
That's okay. Go ahead, finish what you were saying.
But yeah, I feel, but so he has said a lot of slick things that have happened, and I'm wondering and thinking hopefully nothing happens with him per se, but Bobby Kennedy, I think that the truth is stranger than fiction, if you dig my meaning with all of this stuff. So
it definitely is, especially this time.
Weird. So I'm just so I can understand again. I know I froze up a little bit. You said that he complained about Biden and the Secret Service protection because
he said that he applied for it because he's had, he's fears for the safety of his family. People breaking in your house, I would fear for their safety as well. So Biden denied it. And it's been afforded numerous of times to all these other presidential candidates.
Right, but why would my thing is that that's something already set in law. They've set that up for every presidential candidate. So I'm wondering why would Biden be the one having any authority to basically deny it for him? That
Well,
doesn't
here's
make sense.
that's a good question, but that's more why I feel that Biden does nefarious things, like I said, and uses the DOJ and law enforcement and the feds and all of that to weaponize them against his political opponents. That's why Biden needs to be out of office. I'm sorry, Biden got to go. Biden has to go. And now somebody said that Sloan Bella said that she saw a female in the office, or whatever, the Sloan Bella, the psychic.
Okay.
Please let's not let that happen, because that would mean that it would likely be Kabami. That Biden would be the one, and then something happened to him, and then they put Kabami in there, which I definitely hope is not the case. But continue, give me your thoughts on that.
I think she would be a nightmare president.
She's already a nightmare, honey. If she became a president, she'd be even much worse.
She's incompetent. Her staff actually quit because they, I remember in like last year or so, they talked about how all the staff quit because she doesn't even read her briefs that they present for her to be prepared. So I think that's difficult. But you know something, they with Biden, I have people, and I'm tying it in with this trial that we saw. Black people celebrating, oh, he's in orange, he's in jumpsuit. Look, y'all haven't won anything.
Nothing.
We haven't won anything by that. And if something were to happen with Joe Biden, given his advanced age, because look, Biden is not the one really making decisions. It's the it's the leaders of the Democratic Party, like Nancy Pelosi. I think she stepped down, that are making ultimately these decisions that are running things in this country. They have an agenda that's set, and he's doing it, and he's just going along. Because I look at Biden. Biden sometimes doesn't even know where he is, and that's not being a hater. I'm just telling the truth. If you ask him a question, he starts talking out of the blue about something else. It's like he can't get it. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Exactly. He doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. He doesn't know what he's doing.
And I could just say one right quick. Just
go ahead. Take your time.
Something I saw already. They've raised like millions of dollars for Donald Trump.
They have. Absolutely, they have. Okay, it's all nefarious. So, but you mentioned Michael Cohen, right? So let's go to what he said after the verdict. He looked like he wanted to cry, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I didn't.
Not because Trump was found guilty, because he wanted him to be found guilty, but he looked like he was about to cry for something else. Hold on, let me go to it, because they did a TikTok showing it. Okay. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And I'm going to put an overlay over this because I don't want any problems with ScrewTube, talk about copyright claims and all that. Y'all know how they do.
Yeah. Put that disclaimer up.
Right. Hold on. Okay, let's get into it.
What that was like for you. You spent years fighting for Donald Trump, bullying people for Donald Trump, even lying, as you just said, for Donald Trump in coordination with his people. Do you wish you'd never met him?
I do. This has been enormously difficult on my family more than anything. It's been hard on me, but as hard as it is on me, watching my family suffer as a direct result of my actions and the misloyalty that I gave to Donald, it's something that haunts me every day.
So how did you feel when you heard that first guilty?
I let out just a gasp of air. I can't, 6 years. Remember the first time that I met with the District Attorney of New York's people, I was a prisoner in Otisville. I was in my greens. And they came back 2 more times after that. 3 times I met with DAs for New York while I was at Otisville. So this has been a long time coming for accountability.
As you know, there are a lot of Republican office holders out here, including the Speaker of the House, who are saying this is a disgrace. They are still backing Donald Trump. What's your message to Republican politicians and voters who are still considering voting for Donald Trump for president?
I'm not sure how it makes any sense. This is not just now a felon, convict, but it's also a man who has openly stated he wants to rewrite the Constitution on day one. He wants to be a dictator. Not my words, his words. He wants to destroy our tripartite system of government. He wants to get rid of the judiciary and the legislative branch and confer all power to the executive branch, meaning himself, turning himself into a king, a monarch. This country for 259 years has followed one simple principle, democracy, based on the Constitution. He wants to rewrite it as if he could. It's just terrible. So how it is that he's still even in the running, why anybody would want to vote for somebody who is anti-democratic makes no sense to me.
So the verdict is in, start of a new chapter for you?
I have to figure it out. I'm really not even sure where to go. Don't forget, it's another year before I can even reapply for my law license. My business, I've lost. Banks, very difficult to work with. They certainly don't make it easy for people coming out to reintegrate into society. I'm a little bit more fortunate than the average, but it's still difficult nonetheless.
He's been disbarred.
He's been disbarred.
Yeah, you have 7 years to apply for reinstatement, or sooner if you're pardoned, which I don't believe he was pardoned. He got paroled, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And technically speaking, I mean, yes, he could probably get his law license. Yeah, if there's a possibility to get his law license back. What clients would he have?
None. None is the answer. So this is all nefarious as far as I'm concerned. So now, with that all being said, I have a couple other videos if you want to see them. I'll play them in a minute. But here's the thing. So basically, they could, instead of sending Trump to jail, right? Mm-hmm. They could let him. Somebody said, I'll show the video if I can find it. But they said something about maybe he could do it on the weekends. So, and then, and they do that in some cases.
Arrest, yeah.
Right. Or he could have an ankle monitor for life, perhaps. I don't know. But I think Trump's going to appeal it. Like you said last night, we were talking. I think that he's going to appeal it and just be out. And I don't think that Trump's going to prison ever. I don't think he's going to see the inside of a prison at all.
No. I feel, yeah. And, interesting, Michael Cohen said that I wonder if he's going to give the money, like he said he wished he never met him. I wonder if he's going to give the money back that he took in his retainer. But
okay.
Yeah.
Reggie said, your dream, queen, your dream. Okay, now here's the dream that I had, Gavin, in case you missed it. Thank you, Reggie, for reminding me. So I dreamt twice, okay, a few years ago, that Trump was assassinated. And it was a very interesting dream because during this time, he was in the audience. There was it was a press conference or something going on, and Trump was in the audience. There was lots of people watching, and Trump was sitting in a wheelchair, and there was Secret Service around him, and one of them was the one who assassinated him. They had like a laser under their sleeve, like next to their cuff link or something. They pointed at Trump, and he fell forward. And I saw the whole thing, and then I was telling the Secret Service, the other ones who did it, right? And then they tried to kill me because they were all in on it too. So I had this dream twice. So that all being said, that's what I think is coming, because my dreams come true. Okay? My dreams absolutely come true most of the time. And I predicted many things before, including 9/11. Okay? But with that all being said, if that happens, it's definitely going to be hell on earth with his crazy supporters. And they're already going in hard in the paint right now because he lost. Because he got found guilty. I showed a video of them protesting, and they're going off, and they said, let's take it to the streets. But they were already in the streets. Okay?
Well, and just as a disclaimer, you said it was a dream.
It was a dream, yes. It was a dream.
Be careful because people monitor that. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I know they do, but it was a dream, honey. Nothing I can do about it at the end of the day.
Like I said, this is what I tell everybody, especially now that we're seeing this instead of celebrating Black folk. Don't celebrate. Be prepared.
Right.
Stock up on stuff that you can, that is necessary. Step your Second Amendment game up.
Right.
Yeah. Because Louisiana just became concealed carry state, meaning that you don't have to actually usually give you a permit card if you want to get concealed carry. They just they just actually did away with that. So now anybody can carry, although now if you're a felon, of course you can't have that. But I still say, hey, go to a gun range, buy a weapon, learn how to use it, and carry, and also look at some safety classes, because you never know.
That's right. So. And Anthony Vigil says, so you don't support Trump is what I get from that statement. No, I don't support Trump. That should be blatantly evident. I just had Dr. Shiva on for an interview today at the end of the day. So clearly that's who I support, not Trump or Biden. Now, the thing is, of course, I don't want anything nefarious to happen to Trump. But because for one, I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. But the other thing is, if Trump is sent to prison or anything like that, it's going to be hell on earth. And that's just what it is. These people are going to go crazy. And who do you think they're going to take their angst out on? People who look like me. Right. That's what they would do. I think it would literally be a civil war. And we don't have to incite anything for us to be the blame for anything that happens. That's what that's the way it goes. I mean, like Gavin said, look how people behaved when Obama got elected. Okay? Mm-hmm. Right. That's right. Claudette said the wild, wild west. So, at the end of the day, things wouldn't go smooth, is all I'm saying. Right. Things wouldn't go smooth at all. So.
And that was, I distinctly, it's hard to believe that was over a decade ago when he got reelected. That was at the reelection back in 2012 when those riots started. So,
right.
Ole Miss. So, I'm just interested when the sentencing comes up for Trump in June, what's going to happen, and see that. So was it June or July when he's being sentenced?
I don't recall.
I think July 11th or something like that.
Somewhere around there. But you know what? Like you said, he's not going to prison. That's just not going to happen. Now, we're going to get into Diddy in a minute, but hold on. I want to show you 3 takeaways that they posted on TikTok. 3 takeaways from Trump's speech after the verdict was given.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to put this up on the screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
This to anyone. These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening, where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it. Who on earth can want open borders where people are allowed to pour in from countries unknown, from places unknown, from languages that we haven't even heard of? We have people sitting in schools with languages where very few people have ever even heard of these languages. In Venezuela, their prisons have been emptied into the United States. Their criminals and drug dealers have been taken out of the cities and brought into the United States. Then I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put 2 sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it, because I don't know if he knows about anything. But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And this is done by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it all comes out of the White House. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country, the most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president, and he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man. And it's really something. So we're going to be appealing this scam. We're going to be appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Let's go to what Biden had to say about Trump after the verdict. Here we go.
Never badmouth the judge before you get sentenced, but then again, you're not Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a narcissist. He throws caution to the wind in all cases.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I begin my remarks, I just want to say a few words about what happened yesterday in New York City. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. Donald Trump was given every opportunity to defend himself. It was a state case, not a federal case, and it was heard by a jury of 12 citizens, 12 Americans, 12 people like you, like millions of Americans who served on juries. This jury is chosen the same way every jury in America is chosen. It was a process that Donald Trump's attorney was part of. The jury heard 5 weeks of evidence, 5 weeks. And after careful deliberation, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. They found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts. Now he'll be given the opportunity, as he should, to appeal that decision just like everyone else has that opportunity. That's how the American system of justice works. And it's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict.
So, Gavin, what are your thoughts on what Trump said about Biden being the most incompetent, he can't put two sentences together, the worst and dumbest president ever? You're muted, Gavin, you're muted.
Yeah. Well, why even a broke? Why this doesn't surprise me that he would say that? Of course, I think that the speech was going to be what it was, but yeah, I do think that Biden is one of the worst presidents that we've ever had. That's just a fact. Now, hey, even a broken clock can get the right time at least once. When he said that, I knew it was going to happen. Of course, a lot of people, there are people who find that Trump was also the worst president in history. It's all based off of emotions now when it comes to elections. But I want to point this out to the viewing audience and to everybody. This Trump versus Biden is the best this country can do at this time. If this is the best that they can do, then we are truly screwed as a nation. This is what we have become as a nation in the last, I just want to say, we've been going over the cliff for a long time, but America has been, as Dick Gregory has even said it, when Trump got elected, there were people who wanted to challenge it and say, we're going to march and protest. And Dick Gregory was on Roland Martin. He just ignored it. He's like, protest what? Change what? It's finished.
Right.
It was finished before Trump became president. It's been going down here. We just off the cliff and going over, but everyone is looking at us as a nation and laughing at us because we've selected these people and we've allowed these administrations, not just the administration. Look at Congress.
Right.
Congress, the approval ratings for Congress are lower than that of the presidency.
Right. Hold on one second, Gavin. Hold that thought. Let me address this comment. Anthony Vigil says, one thing I don't understand is you're not a supporter of either party, but yet it's an entire live stream. It's all about Trump and Biden. Just strange if you ask me. Well, I don't know why that's strange, beloved, because your comment is strange if you ask me. At the end of the day, I talk about a lot of things that I don't agree with. I talk about a lot of people that I don't support. Diddy is one, and we're going to be talking about him in a moment. I don't like Diddy. I don't care for Diddy, but I do live streams about him every time news about him comes out. So I think it's insidiously obtuse, to say the least, for you to suggest that because we're talking about Biden and Trump and we don't support them, that's strange. How is that strange?
It's your show.
Thank you.
It's
okay,
you talk news. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, do you think the mainstream media doesn't always, they always talk about people that they support? Of course they don't. That's just what it is. Now, clearly you're a Trump supporter and your butt hurt and been out of shape. So I'm sorry. If that's the case, I don't know why you're tuned in. If you support Biden or Trump and I'm talking down on both of them, then why are you in the chat? That's just as ridiculous to me as what you imply about me talking about them below ad. Okay. Now let's continue.
Right. But this is the best that America can do. And I feel that, and I know that this is, we've just gone over the cliff at this point. This is how politics at one point, I think people would say presidents knew, or people running for president knew how to conduct themselves. That's been thrown out of the window, especially when you look at Trump and Biden, and Trump has no, obviously has no filter, no control at all. And, look, I can say this much about him, whether you like the man or not. When he became president after Barack Obama's terms as president ended, 8 years, I listened to Judge Joe Brown, and he and I talked, and he spoke, and he said, now you see how Trump has come in. As soon as he's come in, and remember his first day in office, and he just started immediately signing executive orders, reversing stuff that Obama had put in place, putting in his choices for the Supreme Court, his nominees.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't half-ass. Excuse me. He didn't do that. He did this and did immediately what he wanted to do. He didn't play around, is what I've seen. And we didn't get that, unfortunately, with our president, Barack Obama. When he was president for 8 years, and we're just calling it what it is.
Right.
We wanted to get stuff, especially for Black Americans and so forth. It was him and hawing with it. Now, keep in mind, he had a Democratic Congress. In his first 2 years, he could have gotten some stuff done, and he didn't do it. And a lot of people will say, well, you got to give him a chance. You got to do this. It's his first term. You can't just do things. No, when you get in office and you got an opportunity, you got to try. Even if you don't do it, if you tried to do it and didn't work out, I would still pat you on the back. Hey, I see the man is trying to do something.
Right.
Get that. When Maynard Jackson became mayor of Atlanta, and you know this, Queen, because you're out in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
Maynard revitalized that entire airport with Black construction workers. He made sure Blacks got contracts.
Mm-hmm.
To revitalize was called Hartfield Jackson now.
Right.
That's his namesake. He didn't come around and play around with stuff. Same thing with the mayor here in New Orleans, Dutch Morial. When they wanted something to be done, they stood up. Dutch even canceled Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
When they had issues with the police department, when they weren't getting along, they weren't going to do what he said. Okay, fine, no Mardi Gras. And they did not like that at all when Dutch Morial was mayor, because they're crazy about Mardi Gras here. So, but that's the point of it. I can see these, Trump, at least what he's saying, he went and did.
Right.
You got to.
Now, let me say this before I continue on, because I really want to get into Diddy. Anthony Vigil said, let me put his comment back up. Why not detail on a subject that interests you, your viewers, or you? Makes zero sense. I think you're a low-key hater of America, but scared to speak the truth. I'ma go now. Well, goodbye. At the end of the day, first of all, I say whatever I want to say. If I don't like America, I'll say it. Now, I have a whole lot of things against America that I often speak about. If you were a regular subscriber or person who watched me regularly, you know that. I don't fear saying anything that I'm thinking. Second of all, this does interest me. That's why I'm talking about it. And for two, it definitely interests my subscribers, including yourself. That's why you tuned in. Okay, please continue. Yeah. Now, matter of fact, let me continue because I want to show. If you have something to say, go ahead, Gavin, because I want to pull up with.
No, I don't have anything. You go ahead. And,
okay, so I want to show people responding to the Trump verdict, and then I have a couple of more clips, and then we're going to get into Diddy and what's going to be looking for, what he has to look forward to in the near future with this impending indictment, which I believe will come out next week. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Okay, here we go. Now, this is some people, how they were responding.
You know the verdict? You didn't know the verdict? I must have been. No, I didn't. The verdict?
Guilty on all counts.
On all counts.
Woohoo!
Viva Trump! Viva Trump! They're destroying our city, our country. That's what they're doing.
I know he's guilty. I am good with it. I don't expect Trump to go to jail because he's a rich white man in America. But Todd Blanche said a lie is a lie. A conviction is a conviction.
It's a very sad day for America. That's all I'm going to say.
Why do you feel that way?
Because this is political prosecution and there's absolutely nothing behind this case.
All right, so that's what they had to say about that. Now let's go to what Joy Reid had to say. Okay, here we go.
Byron Donalds, who is from East Flatbush, Brooklyn, as myself, and Tim Scott, who is from the great state of South Carolina, and Marco Rubio, who is Latino. They know damn well who normally ends up at the bottom of this criminal justice
the actual
system.
Victims of a two-tiered system of justice, which he has co-opted that term.
They know exactly that what they're saying is not just factually incorrect, that in the state where Byron Donalds is a congressman, his governor, Ron DeSantis, has dog-walked Black voters for voting and had made a show of it to make sure they're on television, to humiliate them out of voting, to frighten them out of voting. His state is the one that passed overwhelmingly a constitutional amendment to restore the voting rights of people because they had that post-enslavement Jim Crow law automatically taking the rights of felons to vote from them, which is a Jim Crow relic. That state had it, it repealed it, and then Governor DeSantis and his Republicans interfered with it to make it harder for people who had served their time to vote. They understand fully because they have lived in the bodies of Black men, those two Black men, and they're willing to sell themselves cheap. Not even Clarence Thomas will do that. At least he requires it to be expensive. For them, it can be absolutely dirt cheap, free. That's the cheapest it could be, to sell your soul and the lives and memory of all of the Black men and women and brown men and women who have suffered in the criminal justice system, where they can't delay it, where the Supreme Court won't help them, where they won't have Samuel Alito fly an upside down flag for them, where they won't have any of the benefits that Donald Trump has used to kill every case but this one, including humiliating Fani Willis in Georgia to try to shame her out of prosecuting him. The good thing, the one good thing that happened here is that this case was brought in a state that no Republican controls. Because if it did, the same thing that happened in Georgia would have happened here. Thank God for the state of New York, Donald Trump's home state, because there was no way for him to interfere with the process of justice. And in this rare instance, as somebody who's quite critical many times of the criminal justice system, the system actually worked the way it is supposed to work. And I agree with you. The one thing that would ruin this very rare moment when we can all say the criminal justice system can actually see past your power and see past your race and your wealth. The only thing that would ruin it is if anyone finds out who these jurors are, because God help them if that happens, because then Donald Trump will do what he does.
Their safety.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Thoughts, Gavin?
You know, I see Made Up Culture was talking about somebody, about Joy Reid and her wig. She's not going to like the comment I got to make in a second. Joy Reid hates Donald Trump so much, but she got her hair like his. Just look,
Gavin, you are nefarious.
I don't like Joy Reid. I'm going to tell you why I don't like her is because she has a habit, and you can all be mad at me if you want, but she has a habit of talking down on black men.
She does. I agree.
Yes, and everything she has is pro-Democrat. When you look at the media, and you know this, Queen, whether you like somebody or not, you're supposed to be professional. As a journalist, especially, your media is not supposed to be one-sided. Why? I don't.
See the comments?
Yes, I see that.
Continue.
I haven't even gotten to the petty stuff, Mama.
Okay.
We talk about Diddy, but no. But the thing is, this proves though, like what she said about how the jury got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly think if Trump were found not guilty, she would have said the same thing?
No.
She would have been exactly. That's the point. There's no objectivity. It's completely one-sided. It's not balanced. And let's just say this.
Rachel said the exact same thing that you said at the same time. She has no objectivity. Absolutely, I agree.
She has no objectivity. She's clearly partial.
Yeah.
She's clearly partial to the Democratic Party, which is why I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch CNN as much. You know, media used to be straightforward. Well, not used to be, but it's supposed to be, you know, not one-sided for this and that. You report the facts. You could have your analyst on there.
Right.
When you have people start being voices for the Democratic Party and even the Republican Party, have a problem because media is supposed to be there for the people. It's supposed to be an outlet, basically telling people what the facts and truths are, not what the Democrats want me to say or what the Republicans. And Joy Reid, you know, she made that remark. Yeah, Joy Reid is clearly a Democratic shield, and the stuff she was saying about how it affects Black people and brown people, you don't care. This is a woman.
Doesn't care. No, she doesn't. She absolutely doesn't.
This is a woman that has continuously made remarks about Black men not voting. And look, this is going to make when you make comments like that, when you act like a Joy Reid, and even worse, a Roland Martin, and you're talking down on Black people, you're talking down on anybody, is actually going to attract us to go to the other person you don't want. Our ancestors fought for the right to vote. Yes, they did. They did not fight for us, though, however, to be a rubber stamp for a particular party. That's the point of that. They didn't just fight. Yes, they fought for the right for us to vote. They also fought for the right for us to be free, to have our own minds, to think, not be controlled, to own property, to have money, to be economically independent. We forget that after slavery, you had a lot of Black families that owned a lot of land, that owned companies, that had businesses. Even before the Fords, they had a Black man who patented the car. We've had that. We don't have that anymore. That stuff is gone. But the point being is that we can't rely solely on, look, that's why I don't watch these media outlets and so forth. I don't watch MSNBC or CNN. I like to form my own opinions with stuff. So I don't need Joy Reid trying to tell me what I can and can vote for. And honestly, this is going to attract, like I said before, the conviction is not going to make people not vote for Trump. If anything, it's going to throw more support. He's already got 40, I think they've said upwards of $54 million in donations have already been given to Trump's campaign. So I don't see what's going to happen I don't see that changing anything.
You're likely right. I agree with you on that, beloved.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Diddy. What you have to say about that?
Yeah, your favorite producer.
Okay, not hardly, but continue.
Well, what's going on with Diddy? He said there's an indictment likely coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's right around the corner.
Tell everybody what's going on before I comment. What's exactly has happened?
Well, so Rolling Stone did that expose on him where they reached out to 300 people. Out of the 350, okay, well, 50 were willing to come out and talk about his history of nefariousness, and it goes all the way back to college, where he attacked an ex-girlfriend in college and beat her with a belt in front of everybody, screaming and cursing, acting really belligerent. They said people had to pry him off of her, screaming and yelling, telling him to leave her alone. Some other women fled the scene out of fear and all of this. Clearly, he's nefarious is all I'm saying. So with that all being said, that compiled with the video of him assaulting Cassie, and then other people came out and talked about his nefarious behavior. Now there were a couple of people who, in fact, like what's the girl's name? Kalina Harper. Okay, she's worked with him and she said she had good experiences or whatever. There was one other person who's a former assistant that was an intern. She spoke favorably about him. But other than that, aside from those two, other people were just saying all the things that he's done that are, negative things or whatever. And so then, as far as the indictment that's coming, they already have some of these victims that are going to be witnesses. And you know how the indictment goes. And here's the thing. They were talking about a bulletproof indictment. Well, the indictment, when they say bulletproof, to me, that's very interesting because you see, the grand jury doesn't have to be bulletproof. The grand jury, they always say the common theme among prosecutors, as I've said before, and I'm sure you know, that you can indict a ham sandwich because the grand jury indicting someone, that's very one-sided. So with that all being said, he's definitely going to be indicted. But my thing is, when he is indicted, not if, how do you think, how soon do you see that coming? And also, what do you think is going to be the future for Diddy? Do you think he'll get prison time? Or what do you think is going to happen with all of that?
Well, I definitely do think there is some indictment that's likely to come. I certainly think with the raids that they've done and what's being reported, they are investigating him. And especially nowadays, in the last 5 or 6 years since we have this era of Me Too, that seems to be making a resurgence. It's not a surprise if he does get indicted. I will say, and I still say, as a general rule, as you know, Queen, I'm an attorney, and I don't just play one on TV. I'm in real life. That every person is
not in real life, but go ahead.
Every person is innocent until proven guilty, as a general rule, and based off, and it depends on what exactly he's going to be charged. We would have to look at seeing or read the Rolling Stone expose that they did, but I will say this: Rolling Stone has no favors for me, because Rolling Stone has done some sneaky things when it comes to Black artists before in the past. What they did with Michael Jackson is a prime example of it. But nevertheless, yes, there have been some stories I've heard about, some things I've heard about Diddy before that. Of course, we didn't have the internet back then where we could just jump in here and read backstories then on. I don't know exactly how much truth it is and what exactly he's going to be accused of. But I will say this. Ever since, I want to say in the last 5 years, if you've noticed, everything is been a documentary that has come out before a big name. Let's not just say in music. It could be it could be in movies like Harvey Weinstein. There's a documentary that comes out before there's an arrest or some sort like that, you know, or before there's a lawsuit filed, like they had the Leaving Neverland thing that got destroyed, which we know there was stuff that wasn't true in that. Well, at least to the aspect those guys got exposed lying, and then you have the surviving R. Kelly. Now, I'm sure you know 50 Cent has come out with about
yes, of course,
on Netflix called Surviving Diddy, which I don't know at this point. Like everybody can just documentaries has replaced the laws of evidence now when it comes to some of these convictions, and it does taint the jury. Now, you and I spoke the last time after I got off, I started to think about that video that we saw where Cassie got kicked by Diddy, which, you know, was horrible. But I also realized something you said. You believe that it was the feds that leaked it. And
well, that's what I thought initially.
But
I think it was Cassie's attorneys that leaked it. The feds wouldn't have leaked it at the end of the day, because that could be detrimental to the case for one, and also could cause someone to have some sort of harm. Now, I spoke with my uncle, who's a former special agent and also who has been a case agent for the Department of Homeland Security. And he said that the feds wouldn't have leaked it. He agreed with me, but he also said when I asked him, did he think her attorneys leaked it? He said, yes, more than likely the attorneys leaked it. And I asked him if the feds would have known about this. And he said, yes, they would not stop private attorneys from leaking it. And I think they leaked it so that it would lend credibility to Cassie and also show that anything that nefarious that Diddy did that was illegal, that she may have participated in, that would show that it was likely due to intimidation, coercion, threats, and fear.
It could be, but my theory, see, here's my thing too. If it's proven, or here's the thing, if it's proven that that the attorneys for Cassie leaked it, remember they had an NDA. So depending on if they were able to prove it, which Diddy would may be hard to do. I don't know what the terms of their NDA is, but he could try and get that money back, whatever the settlement is. And he might need it for any attorney's fees he's about to face. But, you know, here's the other aspect of it too. Christopher Perkins asked, was it illegal for them to release the video? No, I'll just address not necessarily illegal to leak it. It might be a violation of their NDA, but I think it was illegal, in my opinion, at least, because that's video of a crime that took place that the hotel didn't turn that over to the authorities, although there's no requirement that they turn it over without the police coming and ask for it, but they gave it to Sean Combs supposedly, and what I've heard is he paid $50,000 for it. Supposedly.
But also, here's the thing: Cassie also had a copy of it, which is further what makes me think that her attorneys leaked it, because Cassie was given a copy of it as well. See, the reason I thought the feds leaked. Hold on. The hotel did. And here's the reason I thought the feds leaked it in the first place is because I thought only Diddy had the copy that he purchased for allegedly $50,000. And so when the feds raided his homes and confiscated evidence, I thought that's why they had to have leaked it. But then come to find out that allegedly Cassie was given a copy by the hotel. And let's not forget that when Cassie fled the hotel that night, she came back out of fear because she realized, she was thinking that, you know, he's going to be even more angry that she left. So let me just go back and apologize to him. And when she returned to the hotel, they told her, listen, we saw the videotape. You don't need to go back in there. And they suggested that she leave. And so they were trying to help Cassie. And so that's probably why they gave her a copy of it, even though they gave Diddy a copy at the end of the day. So I definitely think her attorneys leaked it. But here's the thing, Gavin, you talk about the NDA, but the bottom line is an NDA does not cover illegal activities. So if somebody, what I'm saying is this: if you said her attorneys leaked the footage, then that's violation of the NDA, and he could ask for the money back, but that's illegal activities that he was doing on that film. So with that all been said, how would he use that to get the money back? And how is that in violation of the NDA?
Yeah, but that's whatever was agreed to before that video was leaked, whatever was in the NDA, because they can't, my understanding too is that she can't even name him individually and he can't as well as part
right,
of it.
They can't say each other's names.
I'm saying, but no, No, an NDA doesn't cover the law. However, what I'm saying is that remember, he has not been prosecuted and can't be prosecuted for that because even though that what we saw on that, yes, it was against the law. We didn't see that video when they settled this case. So my thinking is that if Diddy clearly had a copy of it, supposedly, so did she. What is the terms? We don't know of their NDA agreement. So if they did, it's very like remember what happened with Bill Cosby in that instance with that woman, Andrea Constant. He had an NDA agreement with her lawsuit, yet she was able to come back 10 years later and tell everything that would happen. And so also she had to testify under oath as to what happened supposedly with her, although everything from my point of view and what I've researched was consensual. Now, with regards to, but that's the point I was making with Diddy. So I don't know what the terms of their NDA agreement is, but if they leaked it, and I'm saying if the agreement stated they couldn't talk about the case or even show anything dealing with that, then that could be. But here's the thing, we don't know who leaked it. We just speculating as to it is, but it could have been, very well could have been her attorney. Remember, even what happened with the brother who was killed by those rednecks out in Georgia, Ahmaud Arbery, the guy who was recording it actually went to a defense lawyer, and the defense lawyer told him to play it for the world because that was going to exonerate him. But it didn't. It actually incriminated him.
Well,
So,
that was his own foolishness, yes, because he was participating in it. But you're absolutely right. Now the thing is, hold on. D Nice says they saying Cassie attorney leaked it. She had a copy. The attorney leaked because Diddy team was naming Cassie as a co-conspirator. And see, that's my thing. Like I said, that's exactly what I'm saying. If the tape were not leaked, some people in the court of public opinion could say, well, as some people were already saying, Cassie participated in these things. She did this, she did that. She wanted to do it. It was about money, da, da, da. They can make all of these excuses. That tape, it was, in my opinion, smart for the attorneys to leak it because it shows how she was treated and that it literally gives us a bird's eye view of how she was treated. Now, he did that in a public setting, so I can only imagine what he did behind closed doors. So that, to me, would show a jury, because that tape will absolutely be shown in court, I believe. And so with that all been said, it will let the jury see that if Cassie did participate in any nefarious activities that were in fact illegal, that would be a good excuse for why she did so, because otherwise she could be viewed as an accomplice or co-conspirator. And let's not forget that Rodney Jones said in his lawsuit filings that some of these people that were at Diddy's parties and all these things that he has on video evidence of, allegedly, that these people participated in a bunch of illegal things. So I think that was probably a good idea that they leaked it. And at the end of the day,
make her simple if they leaked it to make her more sympathetic and also put Diddy in a bad light. But
yes, so they would have more of a motive than the feds to leak it. That's all I'm saying. And at the end of the day, Diddy's not going to be able to prove who leaked it. I guarantee you that. He's not going to be able to prove who leaked it. And here's the thing. Diddy likely didn't even know that Cassie had a copy. You think he knew Cassie had a copy of that tape? I don't think he did. Because had he known that, he likely would have taken it from her. Okay? Because he'd have been like, why you got a copy of this? At the end of the day, he probably destroyed the copy that he had, because that's another thing. When the tape came out, and I'm thinking only the feds could have had a copy of it, I was saying, why would Diddy have kept that? Why wouldn't he have destroyed it? If you paid $50,000 for it because you didn't want anyone to ever see it, why would you keep it? That makes no sense. So then finding out that Cassie supposedly had a copy of it, that makes all the sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, but bear in mind, that tape in and of itself would be, well, first off, I'm speaking as a defense lawyer as well. Depending on what he's being charged with, even so, it likely would have to be not admissible, inadmissible, because it has nothing to do with the case. If anything, it's highly prejudicial. And as a lawyer, whoever is a defense attorney they would likely try and do their best to keep it out, although everybody has seen it. Keep in mind something, Queen. And like I said, I know you don't like Diddy, and I don't care for the man. I've never met him. And that video just actually confirmed many people's suspicions about how he really is in private with some stuff. However, whether you like a person or not is not about the law. It's just, what.
That's true. You absolutely know that.
Charges. It's like with R. Kelly. A lot of people think R. Kelly is in jail over what happened on that tape that was back in 2003. R. Kelly didn't go to get convicted for anything dealing with that. What he got convicted for was violation of the Mann Act, in part. And that's why his attorneys, his appeals attorneys, have valid arguments that they can make, because there was some stuff, especially with the testimony, from what I was reading as to what happened, that was questionable. But there are people who obviously know the situation that R. Kelly has been accused of for years. Seeing the documentary, the Surviving R. Kelly documentary that came out, people saw that. And yeah, I think some of the jurors, a lot of the jurors may have been prejudiced by that. Same thing with the, I'm sure if Diddy gets indicted and if there is a trial, and let's just say 50 Cent has his documentary come out, there are going to be people that saw that. People are going to see the video. So it's either way, it's not, it's not looking great for him, obviously, with that. And I think that people ought to just pay very close attention. Don't be sucking into just what news pundits are also saying. Do your own research with this stuff too. Great is what the point I'm making with that.
Right. I absolutely get it. Now, here's the thing. Just because Diddy put pause on Cassie in that video doesn't mean that he's guilty of all these other allegations that have surfaced. And in fact, to be honest, if I'm just being honest, I don't believe all of these allegations. I believe most of them, but at the end of the day, I don't believe all of them. Okay. And with that all being said, I do think that Diddy is very nefarious. And the fact that I don't like him, well, I'm still going by the facts and the evidence. I'm going by what the witnesses and accusers are saying and the evidence that's been presented thus far, because I just really don't think that all of these people are saying the same thing. And at the end of the day, I believe some of what they're saying. Now, the thing with R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly, see, that's what made me upset, because we knew the things about R. Kelly that had been alleged, and the video came out years ago, and they didn't go in on R. Kelly then. What they did was, when the documentary came out, that's when people got mad. Why are y'all mad now? Because it seems to me that some people, specifically our people, let's just talk about us, allow the media to dictate and determine your thinking, or when you are angered. And I don't like that. If you are angry, you should have been angry then. Don't get angry because the media is telling you to be mad at R. Kelly. Don't get angry because the documentary comes out. I've always been mad at Diddy. I've never liked Diddy since the death of Tupac, because I absolutely believe he was behind it. That's just my opinion. Now, at the end of the day, all of this other stuff, I have my opinions on that as well. But again, my opinions are not facts. My opinions are not evidence. It's just what I think. And so that's how I like to present the case. All right. So, a lot of our people, we basically sit up here and allow the media to tell us our thinking points, and which is crazy to me. Okay, you had to sit there and watch Surviving R. Kelly before you got mad and want to go against R. Kelly, but you didn't have that same energy and smoke back in the early 90s, and neither did anyone else, because R. Kelly was still making money and he was still having concerts sold out and all of that.
Well, I'm sorry, but even Aaliyah's mother, I think she was upset with the documentary because she said something about it wasn't true regarding him marrying Aaliyah. And that was in 1994. In 94, I was 8 years old. So I wasn't even following R. Kelly or Aaliyah, like talking about it like that. But yeah, the mom didn't say anything. I think even in the 2008 trial, the girl had stated that wasn't her on the video. So now, but almost 20 years later, she decides to change her story and say, no, I was there. So it's just, I don't get it.
Well, I can say this, and this is all an actuality. I have more sympathy for R. Kelly than Diddy. I don't think R. Kelly is as nefarious as Diddy. I just don't. But I will say this. I believe some of the things about R. Kelly. I happen to know 2 of my own cousins met R. Kelly, when they were teenagers, and they had some stories to tell. Now, they didn't have any type of relations with him, but they were hit on according to them. So I do feel that R. Kelly was doing nefarious things, but I also keep in mind that R. Kelly himself was supposedly abused as a child by his own sister at the age of 6. And I think that that has a lot to do with the psychology of a person. I think that, childhood trauma and things shape the adults that we become and the things that we engage in. You know how they say abused children become abusers? And so I absolutely believe that. I think, exactly. So I think that R. Kelly needs psychological help. I would have liked to see them have given him some sort of help and treatment, mental health treatment and stuff like that. Diddy, however, is just nefarious as far as I'm concerned. He even said himself proudly that when he was a child, he was given the name Puffy because when he would get angry, he would huff and he would puff like the big bad wolf. So with that all being said, he's always been nefarious. And the fact that we find out that he was beating up girlfriends in college, allegedly, according to people, that he's just always been nefarious, and the music industry and the money that he made, in my opinion, just gave him more so the wherewithal and the ability to continue to do these things and buy people's silence. That's how I see it. And now let me say one more thing. And for people who were saying Rolling Stone does not favor our people, Rolling Stone has no credibility. Well, I'm not going by Rolling Stone necessarily. I'm going by what the witnesses told Rolling Stone. At the end of the day, they could have spoken to people. They could have spoken to Jet, Ebony, whomever, and they would have likely told the same stories, I would imagine. So that's what I'm going on. It doesn't have anything to do necessarily with Rolling Stone. It's what 50 witnesses have said. So that's what I go by as far as that. Okay. And Byron said an exorcism, maybe. Yeah, clearly, because Diddy is a demon, as far as I'm saying. He has demons. Okay. He has demons. I do believe. That's all. So when do you see this indictment coming, Gavin? How soon do you think it is? How far away or close do you think it is?
I mean, it could be. I mean, from what I was reading on CNN, they said it could be a matter of weeks or so. That might be happening. Chance to read all the articles, so I don't really like to comment. Don't know all of the facts and give people their own information. But I mean, grand jury indictments typically, if it's federal, they may not take as long, just depending on what type of case they're building. Remember, they raided his home back. The raid happened back in March.
Yeah. March 25th.
So, depending on what they're trying, certainly it can be building. It could be a matter of weeks before we see something.
Exactly.
Supposedly, I think one headline I saw he skipped his kids' graduations. I'm not quite sure how true, if that is true, what happened with that. But
he did skip their graduations and the prom for his daughters and all that. Likely to avoid a media circus, likely because he didn't want to embarrass them. And he didn't want to take away from their day, because you can imagine the paparazzi would have been out there clicking photos and all that, making a whole spectacle of the situation. So I think that he did the best thing not going to either of those events, the graduation or the proms. But I do feel bad for his children who will have to suffer for so-called sins of the father, or the alleged sins of the father.
Right. That's the sad thing about that. I feel for them. Yeah.
Rick said, I'm thinking about the fact that there was no arrest when the raid happened. And that's what I think also, Reggie, is what Reggie said. I was just wondering, because usually when there's a raid conducted, somebody is locked up. And Diddy wasn't. Now, that's because, in my opinion, they want to have a airtight case, I think. But also, I think that when they went in there and conducted those raids, they were going to not only collect evidence, but likely to get rid of evidence for people like Lucian Grange, Clive Davis, who were on those if they were on those videotapes. That's just my thinking. And I've said that before. And Florida Native says Diddy was an FBI informant. He was. That's already been proven. I showed you all the receipts on that. He was a whole confidential informant. It's documented. I showed you the documents he was the confidential informant for a man by the name of Mark Parody, Paridy. So that all being said, I showed you all the paperwork. So that would explain, as I told you all before, because I've been saying since 2021, before any of this stuff happened, I told you all that I believe that Diddy and Jay-Z worked for the feds. I told y'all that in 2021. I have the video still up. So that would explain why he's gotten away with so many nefarious things, as far as I'm concerned. You all right? And so I don't have any sympathy for him. No, I don't. I would like to, but I don't. Because at the end of the day, let's talk about how people say, oh, he's a black man, da, da, da. But Diddy has done detrimental things to black people, allegedly. We know that for a fact he's done some detrimental things. I'm not talking about the allegations currently against him, but if we just look back at the people that claim they didn't get their money, how he took their publishing and all of those things. So detrimental, definitely. He's built his wealth off of other people's talents and then didn't reward them in many cases. So I don't have any sympathy for him. Okay, I don't. And let's not forget that he told Shakir Stewart, who was dating Kim Porter at the time, that he would take his life. And that man turned up deceased. Now, maybe he took himself out like they say, but then again, I don't know. I find it all very strange. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Did you, yeah, I think that I'll just say this too with Diddy. It'll be interesting what happens next. Like I said, it could be a matter of weeks. Yeah, and the record industry is very corrupt in general, but Diddy is just one piece of the chessboard. I think that, like Epstein, this is my opinion, he knows some secrets, and which is why they raided. That's just my thinking. He probably had some videos of people in compromising situations from his parties that I've heard of. It could be, yeah. So don't be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if there were something that happened to him, although it's not what I wish on. But yeah, wasn't he a protege of Clive Davis?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I absolutely agree with you on that, because that's another thing that I said. You know, there's no telling what Diddy knows, but he definitely knows some things. And if he has all this footage on people that were at those parties and doing certain things, because, you know, Diddy has said himself, allegedly, that he was recording things about his life since the 90s. Okay, I don't know if he's planning on making a documentary or whatever, but I absolutely believe that he knows a lot of things, and there's a lot of people who wouldn't want those things exposed. And I have said the same thing, Gavin, that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he were to be sentenced to prison or whatever, that something nefarious would happen to him. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy, definitely not on Diddy, but these are some realistic things. You know?
Yeah. Did he do?
Okay.
Yeah.
He got got info on some powerful men. Yeah, I absolutely believe it. So the bottom line is, you're basically saying that you think Diddy's going to be indicted. Oh, he's definitely, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be very, very soon. And I think that some of these people that he has information on, that perhaps Diddy is bartering. Okay, because the video evidence that was confiscated from his residences, that's not the only video evidence that he has, in my opinion. I think that he has other stuff stored, stashed somewhere else. So we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
Now, so do you think, you know, that some of these people encouraged him with his nefariousness? We don't have to call their names, but do you think that some of these people that possibly mentored him, whatever, do you think that he learned some of these tactics from them? Because I think, of course, there's a lot of Diddy's in the music industry, in my opinion. I don't think, of course, he's the only one doing these things. No, I think there's a lot of people, and I think there's people in the hierarchy. I think there's people above him that's doing nefarious things, and that he learned it from them. What do you say about that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the man, like I said, personally, and I don't want to speculate to say something, but I will say this. Hollywood, misery loves company, and Hollywood especially makes strange bedfellows. So I think that, you know, that stuff is going on, or you know, that stuff goes on. He probably saw it and may have been used to it, or otherwise, you know, people are also just, from the time they're kids, they grow up and they become a-holes. Just they become entitled. They think they can know everything. And that happens. And, you know, my thinking, though, too, is from he swung up on a girl, a female like that. There are a lot of, from what I've heard, he doesn't do that to men. He can't do that to a grown man coming up on him like that.
Well, he did it to Steve Stout. He did to Steve Stout. They said he went upon Steve Stout's head with a bottle in a chair. They said Diddy said Diddy has the smoke. But I think that when he did those things to males, it was because he had backup.
Yeah, backup there. But yeah,
backup.
But if he was, I'm talking about, I can't see him running in a towel going at a dude like that by himself.
I don't think so.
That's maybe I should be more specific. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I agree with you on that. Now, what do you think about him allegedly getting all up in Shaka Khan's face? Because that's what her daughter Indira Malini said. That he got up all in Shaka Khan's face, going yelling and screaming and being disrespectful and rude. And when her 19-year-old son intervened, then his goons beat him down.
I hadn't heard that story. So was she in a recording studio or something?
I don't remember where they were, but it was some sort of discrepancy where Diddy got up in her face and was going in, honey. And so the daughter came out and said, she said she was basically celebrating his demise. Because after he got up in her mother's face, and then she said he let the goons beat up her brother, and then she tagged her mother in the comment and said, at Shaka Khan, said, "Mom, isn't it great?" So a lot of people celebrate his demise, unfortunately for him, but I do believe it's because of the nefarious things that he has done. Even if he hasn't done all these things alleged in the lawsuit, he has a trail of angry people behind him, left in the wake of things that he's done to them, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and look, it's also true when you're a multi-billionaire, you've got money and so forth. A lot of people, especially, are not going to like you also, especially if you're in the industry and let's say you owe me some money for doing a session, I never got paid. So that could be a factor with this too. But yeah, Diddy going up in the face of Shaka Khan, he forgot Shaka Khan was a Black Panther.
He forgot it. I think so. He must have forgotten.
Tell me something good.
Okay. Absolutely.
Where was Rufus? Rufus could have came out and busted him with a guitar. Just
I don't know if Rufus was on the scene. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of stories about him getting up in Lori Ann Gibson's face and about to hit her with a chair. And the guy, what's his name? Michael Bivins allegedly held her down and all this stuff. It's just a whole lot of people saying a whole lot of stuff. And some of these people are celebrities. And we've seen his foolishness. Did you see the video when it was Halloween? He was dressed like the Joker and he got into it with the guy from Power. So we've seen his anger and we've seen his hostility and aggression on numerous occasions. So with that all being said, at the end of the day, when you see those things, it just lends more credence to the fact that he may have done even more nefarious things behind closed doors. Is all I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying the things are true. That has yet to be proven. But I think absolutely that some of those things are true.
Yeah, could be.
And I feel sorry for his kids. Like I said, I don't have any empathy for him, but I do feel sorry for the children.
Right. The children are the ones that are going to suffer the most from this. And especially now with the lawsuits coming in. So here's my thing, my last take on it. Releasing the video also, if there are any of whatever other lawsuits he has, because I know those are still pending and it's a civil matter, they can try and use that against him, obviously, for his character. They also can go after the money that he made. And the kids are the ones that are going to be affected because now, if you're Sean Diddy Combs' children, your name is tied to him with that. So anything you try and do that you may have wanted to do is going to be harder because people are now distancing themselves. I didn't tell you this story, but my friend Nicole from Nicole's View actually interviewed Bill Cosby's, I believe his cousin. I'm not sorry, not his cousin, his nephew. And they talked, and he even stated how that Nickelodeon tried to keep Bill Cosby's granddaughters. They had a deal to do something, and when the allegations started, they shut it down.
Well, they're the fine ones to talk, because did you see the expose on them, Quiet on Set?
Quiet on the Set, yeah.
They need to sit down somewhere. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not talking about the cattle, clearly. All right. So, yes, this absolutely happens. And another thing, too, Gavin, it was maybe a month or so ago. maybe 2 months ago, whatever, when his daughters, they're trying to be models like their mom, and they're beautiful young ladies, the twins. And so they absolutely lost a gig because of this stuff that's going on. So you're absolutely right about that. The people are distancing themselves.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why a lot of people are just quiet at this point and haven't come out and said anything in his defense. And Ashton Kutcher, who's a longtime friend of Diddy's, has come out and said that he believes that he's going to be called to testify, and he's prepared himself for it and all of that. And of course, he doesn't want to, but also he and his wife, Mila Kunis, are not coming out to show support for Diddy because they already received backlash for showing support for Danny Matheson, who played on that 70s show with him when he got convicted of 3 counts of grape. Please pay attention. We can't say the word, but yeah.
I'm not even mentioning it.
Okay. And so
Tom Mesereau, who I've had on your show, I've had you do the interview on my show with. Yeah, he was actually Danny Matheson's attorney.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So with that all being said, now let's talk about this. So they have these allegations of Diddy for money laundering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the lawsuit with Rodney Jones, and here's the thing, mind you, they said some of the witnesses that they've spoken to already have brought forward new evidence about certain things. Now, one of the latest accusers, April Lampros, was it April Lampros or the other young lady? No, it was the young lady before her, the former model, Crystal McKinney. Now, Crystal McKinney claims to have DNA. She said that the pants that she wore on the night that Diddy assaulted her on an occasion, allegedly, she said that she has kept those clothing items in a plastic bag under seal for 20 plus years. So there could possibly be DNA. And which I find all very interesting because she was married and everything for like 4 years and she still had that stuff all that time. So, and they said, like I said, they're saying there's, like
Monica Lewinsky and Linda Tripp.
That's what I said. That's what I said. And so I find it very interesting. But also, like I said, they're saying that some of these witnesses, and here's the thing, they've reached out to several people, including a male SEX worker that was found on footage that they confiscated from Diddy's property in his residences. Did you know that? They've reached out to some of these people that are on the footage, and some of these people have supposedly brought forward new evidence. And so, and I believe that some of these people are likely going to definitely talk because otherwise they can be viewed as accomplices if, in fact, what Rodney Jones says is true, that they were participating in illegal activity.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. She couldn't, and yeah, she may not be telling the truth about it, but.
Well, here's the thing. If she were lying about it, do you think the attorney would have taken her case? Because as an attorney, now you let me know, correct me if I'm wrong, but as an attorney, when she's saying these things, when any of them are saying these things, wouldn't the attorney vet the information and want to see the proof if they claim they have it before filing the lawsuits?
Not necessarily. I mean, look, when we file lawsuits, we going off the words, especially what our clients have told us and what information we have. But I mean, there's a suit right now out in Buffalo. The guy who was the Buffalo Bills punter, who's actually suing the attorney. He's actually suing an attorney, and one of the accusers because she accused him. A woman accused him of assault at a party, and he actually got kicked off the Buffalo Bills team. Well, what happened, I think his name is, if I'm mistaken, somebody can tell me his name. I think it's Matt Ariza. I could be wrong. But long story short, it turned out that didn't happen. And the attorney, because he didn't recant, he ended up getting sued, actually. So sometimes some people actually can, when they open their mouth and they don't vet or do anything, they can.
See, that's my thing. So, but as an attorney, it would behoove you to vet the information before you go and file a lawsuit. That's just my thinking. Especially if you tell them you got DNA.
Right, but the thing is that in that case, my understanding, they had given the attorney several opportunities to try and do that. Once he learned the information he had was inaccurate, because the way the law reads, when we sign pleadings, you have a reasonable belief that this is a valid case. Now, if I believe it's reasonable based off of it, and I don't know what the young lady supposedly told the attorney because that's privileged or whatever what happens, and she gives him the information, he goes on it, I think there may be something there. Now, here's the other issue. You also got statute of limitations that were involved in that. So how long ago was this? Is this now coming up because of the new laws that was passed in New York, the look back laws that they filed this? Well, that's another fact.
The one about the gender violence or whatever because of your gender, you know what I'm talking about? That act, that's the one that it was used to file under. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely. It's old stuff. It happened in the early 2000s.
Right. And someone said, would you use private investigators? Yeah, normally if you can afford them. Sometimes we ain't, all attorneys ain't got it like that.
Right. Right. Now, but like I said, I would want to see some of the proof of some of the things that you're saying before I filed a lawsuit and put myself out there on a limb. I just think that would be the wisest thing to do. If that attorney didn't do that and had several chances to do so, and then, well, he's getting sued because of his own ignorance, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they had what he was able to show. I think Matt Reeves was able to show that the girl, he was recording, I guess, what was going on and stuff that wasn't there that she said. The recording verified his version of the events. And so they gave him an opportunity, I guess, to do it. And then the lawyer said he was still going forward, which is why they filed a countersuit against him. I believe they dropped the suit against the young woman for being involved in it, but they still filed the suit against the attorney. And what made it worse was that, he got kicked off the team. So I think he ended up signing back with the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of the day. But the point is that ruined my life because a lot of people, when they get accused of stuff, you don't necessarily get a second chance.
Right.
Brian Banks, at least he got an opportunity to play in the NFL for a little bit. Pete Carroll gave him an opportunity, but he wasn't, obviously he was much older by the time he got that chance, so it didn't last long, but still, yeah. No, so wait, I'm just looking at this. I want to verify. He did file a defamation suit. And then what happened in December, he mutually agreed to drop their respective lawsuits against each other, with neither party admitting any wrongdoing, but he retained the right to sue her attorney, Don Gillian. So that's what happened. So this was in San Diego, right? Yeah. And I'll send a link to you if you want to read the story. It's interesting.
Okay, yes, please send it to my email. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I appreciate you, Gavin. I like your take on things. And of course, I understand that you're an attorney, and so you have to be politically correct and not be biased as I can be. That all being said. And even though I don't like Diddy, I do like to go by what the witnesses or the alleged victims have said. Like I said, I believe much of it, but I don't believe some of it. Some of it I think is in fact a money grab for some people, but I do believe that some of these people are absolutely telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I just, I call things how I see it, but as an attorney, I've always even thought this as a kid. I just like to follow the Constitution and what our laws are. And, I always believe in the presumption of innocence, no matter what, unless, of course, we got a damning video or something like that. So
right. Now, so let me say this before we go. So you do think that the video footage of Cassie won't be entered into evidence in court because you said it could be prejudicial, which it could.
I think, well, let's put it this way. I think his attorneys would do a job in trying to get that, keeping that video out. They would file what's called a motion in limine, which is when you want to limit prejudicial evidence, and the court would have to weigh whether the probative value of that said evidence outweighs any prejudicial outcome from it. So is it more prejudicial than not against him, and does it have any value to the case? Yeah. That's what I think it would not be admitted or considered, but yeah, people are already prejudiced and already have seen the video, so it's actually going to be hard at anybody to sit on that trial. Just like with R. Kelly with the video they had years ago, people think, well, I think he did something at least, so I'm gonna get him on this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it would. I honestly think they'll try and keep it out. His lawyers,
Yeah,
his
I
lawyers would be
agree.
committing malpractice if they didn't.
I agree that that's plausible. That's absolutely makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But now here's the last question. So with that all being said, Cassie's attorneys couldn't fight to have it entered into evidence as to show lend credence to her testimony.
Repeat it again.
So you don't think that Cassie's attorneys could fight to have it entered in to lend credence to her own testimony, to show her as a victim rather than an accomplice, perhaps?
Why would Cassie be? Well, why would Cassie's lawyers try to fight to bring her in? She's facing an indictment as well.
No. She's not facing an indictment, but I'm just saying, to lend credence to her testimony.
Well, I mean, I don't think she would be testifying if she's. Well, that all depends. I don't think she's testifying as of yet. She hasn't been subpoenaed to do so.
No, some people. No. Stop right there. Some people have already. I think that some people have already been subpoenaed. At the very least, there are some subpoenas that have been issued. They said they're even subpoenaing the phone companies, the businesses, and all of that. And not to mention, Cassie is cooperating with the feds.
But
allegedly.
I'm talking about if there was an actual trial. There hasn't been anything like that. You're talking about a grand. So you're talking about the grand jury proceeding. I'm just saying I don't think that the video, the way you made it sound was like Diddy was trying to say she was a co-conspirator. And
no, I'm not saying Diddy said that. What I'm saying is, in the event of the trial, which is absolutely coming in my opinion, during the trial, when Cassie gives testimony, right?
If she's subpoenaed to give testimony, okay.
She's going to be the star witness. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, because they've already said that the accusers, some of them are going to be witnesses. So the main one's going to be Cassie. She's going to be the star witness for the prosecution. Now, with that all being said, now that's my opinion, but here's the thing. If she is the star witness for the prosecution, the thing is, when she's telling some of these things, they could feel like, okay, she was willfully complicit in some of these illegal activities or whatever. So I'm saying that, don't you think that her attorneys could fight to have that tape entered into evidence as to show that she was participating in things out of coercion, intimidation, threats, and force and fear, and like that. And also, let me just say that Rodney Jones also, I do believe, is going to be a witness, right? And then he said in his filings that there were some things that he didn't want to speak about because he wants to invoke his Fifth Amendment right. So, which means to me that he likely engaged in some activities also that may not have been up to par as far as the legal system is concerned. So, you don't think that her lawyers would try to have that come in just so they can say, this is why she did those things?
Yeah, but you got to remember this too. Her lawyers don't have any standing in this because it's the prosecutor's case. If it were where she were being accused of doing something that or any role in it, then yeah, she might be able to plead the fifth. Now the prosecution may, if they want to try and bring that video in, and they can, like I said, they might do that. But I'm stating to you, see, I don't know if the video is going to come in or not, but what I'm saying essentially, this is my opinion.
Right.
The defense attorneys for Diddy, likely if that video were to be played in the prosecution's, what they call their case in chief, meaning their star witness, what you're saying being Cassie, the defense would likely have to move before that when they have pretrial conferences. They would likely have to move to have that video suppressed, but we don't say suppressed because motions to suppress typically involve unconstitutionally obtained evidence. You have to file a motion in limine,
right,
to keep something prejudicial out. So I can see his attorneys making an argument to keep that out, but it depends on what is the role and what is Cassie essentially going to testify to. Now, here's another aspect of it. if they were to bring her on the witness stand and testify about the stuff that she had done and cooperated with them, and let's say they also stated she talked about the abuse that she suffered. Depending on what the nature of the charges is, the defense attorneys can also be objecting to the line of questions and also to what the witness is testifying, depending on what he's actually charged with. Because if it has nothing to do with it, again, can that prejudice? See, anybody sitting in the defense box, you have rights, which is why you have your attorney with you, and the attorney makes their objections during the court. Because what you're doing then is, even if you're going to lose, I'm objecting so I can preserve the record so that the appellate courts, if I appeal it, looks at it and sees that the judge made an error in allowing something like that in, or the jury made their verdict was contrary to the law, the laws and the facts of the case. So that's what essentially could possibly happen. Someone said, Christopher Perkins says, come on, Gavin. Everyone knows you are only as smart as the questions you ask.
What?
Whatever the hell that means.
So here's the thing. Now, I will say this. Diddy's attorney, Bradford Cohen, I believe is his name, one of his attorneys. Bradford Cohen. Now, this man is a whole shark. So whoever gets up there to testify against Diddy better have that stuff together, because now they said that they have not prepped the witnesses to go before the grand jury. They've not prepped them as of yet. But the thing is, these witnesses, when they get up there on that stand to testify, they better have it all together, because I'm telling you, Bradford Cohen, if you have one inconsistency, that's your ace. Okay? I'm telling you right now. I've seen his work. So you don't want to play around with him is all I'm saying. Cross-examination can be detrimental.
Most definitely. Cross-examination, basically, you know, F. Lee Bailey before stated that there wouldn't be stated when Mark Furman was on the witness stand, he had the chance to cross-examine, and he was quoted as saying,
the N-word, yeah.
No, not that.
Okay.
No. He said, there's not a lawyer alive who wouldn't want to cross-examine Mark Furman, a defense lawyer, because he knew he had the goods on Furman and his history and what he was doing, because it was his opinion Furman planted the glove.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so with that all being said, I guess we will sit back and wait and watch it all go down, honey, because at the end of the day, no matter how it turns out, Diddy's done. Because if he doesn't end up in prison, he's gonna likely be broke as hell with all these lawsuits being paid off, attorney's fees and all of that, and all of these 18 companies that took away their business from him. And then even more recently, they've taken his eyeglass line down, you know, and all of this stuff. And then Peloton has stopped using his music, streaming platforms have stopped using his music. And this is all just since the last few things that I said is all just since that video came out. So even some of the people who were trying to support him, you know, low-key supporting him when that video came out, now, but they really don't have much to say, because how can you defend that? Even if you don't know for a fact he did all the other things, just to see that violence that he inflicted, that you can't unsee that. So Miss Mississippi says Shaka Khan should have slapped the shit out of Diddy. And speaking of slaps, Voletta Wallace, Biggie's mother, said when she sees him, and you quote her on this, she says that she wants to slap the daylights out of Diddy after seeing that video of what he did to Cassie. And so Florida native said, just hope he goes to federal prison. All right. It looks like him and Donald Trump are in for a treat. If you ask me, both of them should sit in the same cell. Okay? They should sit in the same cell. And the interesting thing is, Diddy has been good friends with Donald Trump for years. As of late, we haven't seen them around much. I think he kind of fell back, but very much so good friends and going to hanging out with Trump and all of that.
Right. Well, that was a state charge, not a federal. He's not gonna go to federal prison.
Oh yeah, that's right. So he's not. Well, Trump ain't going to prison at all. But I'm just saying it would be nice if they could sit in the same cell. But Trump is not going. Florida native said Diddy is worse than Trump. This is all nefarious at the end of the day. So anyway, Gavin, any final thoughts? Want to shout out your platforms and all of that before we go?
Yes, follow me on YouTube channel gboot2786. Also, I have my X account, which we're growing every day. You can all check me out there. And I appreciate you for having me come on your platform, Queen QueenAShakur. I enjoy our time.
Thank you. All right. So with that all been said, listen, guys, for those of you who didn't see the interview that I did with presidential candidate Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai this morning, please go back and watch. And here's the thing. Dr. Shiva curses even more than Gavin. And so with that all being said, that's why I pre-recorded his interview, because I knew he was going in.
I didn't curse this time, no.
Huh?
I didn't curse this time, though.
I know. Thank you. I love it. So I can actually get monetized for this video. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, I knew Dr. Shiva was going to go in because he always goes in. And Claudette said he sure does. Okay. And you know, some people didn't think it was politically correct when him doing all that cursing. But here's the thing. He was just being his true, authentic self. And I absolutely love it. So, but I didn't know he was going to do it because that's what he's always going in on them. He goes hard in the paint on the swarm, as he calls them. And so that's why I pre-recorded it so that I could edit some of it. I didn't edit all of it because it was a bit much. But at the end of the day, it was a pleasure having him on here. It's always a pleasure having you on here, Gavin. And so, Reggie said, hold on. Reggie said, I was like Dr. Shiva letting the algorithm have it. Queen Sam said, I enjoyed the interview and he has my vote. Thank you, beloved. Okay. Claudette said he was expressing himself. Okay. Above all that drama, said Dr. Shiva's the truth. He absolutely is. Now, like I said, you don't have to agree 100% with everything he says at the end of the day. And though he did suggest that other people get reparations, at the end of the day, he wasn't against us getting reparations, as many people have been. And let's not forget that Barack Obama was in office and he didn't give us reparations, and neither did anyone else. And in fact, Bernie Sanders, who I used to think was down for us because he walked beside Dr. King and went to jail beside Dr. King and all of that, said that it was divisive, but he didn't have that same smoke when it came to his people getting reparations. So just keep all of that in mind. All right. So with that all being said, great live, Queen Gavin Mods and chat. Thank you, beloved. Hashtag B1. I know that's right. Okay. Hold on. Let me get a few more comments up here on the screen. Gavin seems like a good soul and love when he is on your show. Thank you, love bird. You see that, Gavin? Everybody loves you. Right?
That's right.
It's so, including me. All right. So with that all being said, y'all remember one day I was going in on Gavin when he was on here and he wasn't here for it. He was going right back in on me. Please pay attention. We had that panel discussion about Diddy. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Reggie says, I just wanted to hear what I wanted to hear. I'm past everything else. Okay. So I love you all to life. Thank you, Gavin, once again. And you all be sure to follow Gavin on his channel. And at the end of the day, you know, thank you, Juju. Thank you, Juju, beloved. I love you to life too. Okay. And so everyone, please like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And also, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. And Juju said Gavin's acting right today. Gavin, don't get him twisted now. Okay. So anyway. Gavin is protected too. I sense he got ancestors who don't play about Gavin. Absolutely. Okay. So with that all being said, hold on. Oh, Juju said this is why he said that. Gavin was just cussing last.
I wasn't cursing.
You said a few F-bombs, Gavin. Please sit down somewhere.
I was actually quoting something, but yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, listen, I love y'all to life. Thank you again, Gavin. And everyone, I hope to see you all in the next broadcast, which will be tomorrow. For those of you who missed the video interview that I did with Dr. Shiva this morning, please go back and watch. I dropped the link in the chat. And It was very interesting, and I'm sure you'll like it. And I will be having Dr. Shiva back on the show. All right. So always a pleasure, Gavin. Everyone enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
All right.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got...
Wearing normal clothes like a normal person.
All right.